in 3 games prior to that, to Tampa, Nashville, and the Rangers. I'm probably leaning to Florida tonight, but in all honesty, I think I think the under 6 is the best play here. I thought this would be a 5.5, so I'm more than happy to take under 6 in this one. Andy Lang, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, fun game. And you know what makes a game even more fun is the same game parlay. I've always said that, guys. So this is the game tonight that I am going with on the same game parlay. And I'm going in this with the premise that I really like Florida tonight in this game. I think they got back on track with a really nice 4-1 win, and it feels like, I mean, think of the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride of some of these teams, that we've seen. And it's like, as soon as you start to write off a team, they just rip off a bunch of wins. Edmonton did this. You're looking at the exact opposite with Seattle right now, who can't seem to buy a win. And I think this Panthers team, after losing a few in a row, I think they get the win, and this might be a signal that they're going to get back to their winning ways. So there's a few pieces that I'm going to pick here, thinking that I really like Florida tonight. I'm going to start with a player prop. Charlie McAvoy will not have a point. That's minus 180. He's ice cold, 10 games in a row without a point, and he's been very sporadic throughout the year. He'll go on streaks with like 3 games in a row with a point. Not right now, and I think the Bruins are going to struggle to score. So Charlie McAvoy will not have a point. I'm going to parlay that with the Bruins under 4.5 on their team total. They've gone under this in 7 straight road games. They've only scored a couple goals in each of the last 2 games. And then I'll parlay that with Florida over 1.5 on their team total. Boston has allowed last 4 opponents to get to 2 or more goals. Like I said, I like Florida to win this game, so I'll take McAvoy, not have a point. Bruins under 4.5, Florida over 1.5, and that gets you to minus 110.
I like that recipe. Get into minus 110 off those. I think Andy's a pretty good number to get to. I like that. And McAvoy not to have a point. For a guy I think lately has been mostly just a defensive defenseman. Yeah, they don't need him. I don't think he's the key to their scoring. That's for sure. So a nice little piece to that pie. I like that one. But I will say I do lean towards the Bruins side here, guys, in this one. Bruins have won the first 2 meetings this season against the Florida Panthers. And you look back, I understand the Panthers struggled, had a couple bad games in a row, and then they get ahead and get a win against the Philadelphia Flyers. And I understand, sometimes if a team is struggling, they break those struggles, get a win. You kind of want to look to keep betting on them. But I just love this motivation spot here for the Boston Bruins. I don't think the Bruins have been playing good hockey at all, even in some of the victories that they have had recently. And I like that I saw they've had multiple, just absolutely, bag skating, disastrous, coach freak out type of practices. And you look at the season this Bruins team is having. You look at their record, even the last 20 games. Does anything that they've done recently indicate that a coach should bag skate them? That they should be, doing lines up and down the ice? That a coach should be telling them to wake the bleep up? I don't think. I mean, they haven't been playing that poorly. But if you look at the quotes, you look at some of the reports you've seen from the Bruins, you would think they're not even in a playoff spot right now by how their coaches are playing. And statistically, they're doing all right. I think they're creating a ton of chances. And what I've liked the most out of this Bruins team lately is that it hasn't just been the top guys doing the scoring, which I think, as we know, over the years in the playoffs, even during the successful seasons they've had, a lot of it's been the big 3 or the big 4 guys. So getting depth production has been helpful for them. But I just think this is a Bruins team that comes in a little bit more hungry, despite Florida having that losing streak and then snapping it. Look at Boston's victories. They beat Ottawa, not really much to write home about. Philadelphia when they were struggling. Montreal, Pittsburgh. I mean, a lot of teams that just were struggling. And then they played teams like a red-hot St. Louis team, lose to them. New York Rangers, lose to them. I just love this desperation spot. I love that they've had a little bit of time to rest here, get back to practice. And I really like this price I'm getting on the Boston Bruins. So this to me is a veteran team backed by a ton of leadership, a great coach, Montgomery. Despite Florida, I get it, going through struggles themselves. I'm actually, even though they're on less of a losing streak here, guys, and playing better over the large scale, I still believe this Bruins team is a little bit more motivated after dropping 2 straight games. So I'm going to go ahead with the Bruins at a nice little plus price here, Carm.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm gonna do my best. Teddy covers and a follow-up question for you. So, does it bother you at all when picking the Boston Bruins at the fact that they won the two previous games in this series and post All-Star break they have lost what 5 of their 8 games post All-Star break on the road. The wins coming against the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the first road game post All-Star break was against the Edmonton Oilers, a 6-5 shootout. Other than that, they've dropped decisions to Calgary, Vancouver, the Seattle Kraken, New York Islanders, and just recently the Philadelphia Flyers. And there seems to be some money uh, on the market moving this morning on Florida. They are now up to minus 135 across the board on the WagerTalk live lines, which you guys should be using. Free service at WagerTalk. Live lines show you movements as they happen. Any thoughts on that, or it doesn't bother you, and you just end up getting a better price on the Bruins because people are betting Florida?
The money moving doesn't bother me as much. I more so look at the openers, and I do respect the opening numbers. What I would take into account, Carm, usually would actually be that they've won the first two. It's like, Florida's going to want that revenge. It matters. They did lose the first two of the series in the season, but just with Boston losing 2 straight, with some of those reports that I saw, again, I'm not a huge coaches quotes guy, but some of the stuff that I read from Montgomery, and I saw videos of him. Like, you would think, guys, that his team is on a 15-game losing streak right now with some of these quotes that you saw. It's unbelievable. So, and look at some of the losses Florida had. I mean, Florida loses to New York, Nashville, Tampa Bay, Carolina, some good teams, and then their victory are against a Calgary team we've been fading a lot, Dallas, New Jersey we've been fading a lot. So I wouldn't say Florida's playing great hockey right now either. So we will see which team gets it going. The funny thing is, neither team's really playing great hockey, so it might be a great game for a same-game parlay, like what Andy's looking at, and not have to stress too much about the actual lines that are set ahead of time. I might join Andy on McAvoy not to get a point, even though I'm on the Bruins, because he's not really been much of an offensive threat. But guys, thank you for being here with us here, watching Puck Time here on WagerTalk TV. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell. That's when you get notified for everything we have that goes up, posted live as well. We're doing all kinds of videos now offline, not just live and recorded, but offline. You guys can get all those videos, all the content right here on WagerTalk TV. All right, so Andy, we're going from that big contest to the Red Wings and Capitals. It's a little bit of a different battle, but at the same time, it means something as well. I mean, the Capitals are playing some good hockey right now. The Red Wings, they're hanging on to their playoff spot. Carm picked some good ones for us today. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of hockey. I wish I had the secret sauce to kind of predict when these teams would break out of their funks and go on these winning streaks, and then also come out of their winning streaks and go into the losing streaks. And this Capitals team, I mean, my gosh, I don't think anybody really saw this coming. So really nice wins for them, 5 out of 6 games. When I look at the player props in here, sometimes it's just very easy to keep it simple and not overthink it. Patrick Kane over 2.5 shots on goal. He's done this in 20 out of 30 games, and he's gone over in 8 out of 9 games. And there's a Capitals team. They're fairly similar to Boston in this respect. That don't allow a lot of goals, but they allow a lot more shots on goal. So this is a Capitals team that allows the 12th fewest amount of goals per game, but the 21st most shots on goal. So they're not a great team to take like the opposing team's team totals over, but they are good to take opposing players' shots on goal. So you get Patrick Kane over 2.5, 8 out of 9 games he's gone over. A little bit juicy, but I'm perfectly fine with laying juice on these. It's been a great year for hockey for me. Cashed last night. And one of the big things is I haven't really been too worried about the juice. I'm finding that these minus 150, minus 160 plays, who cares when they're hitting 8 out of 9 games? Who cares if it's minus 160? Like, at the end of the streak, your profits are going to be there. So Patrick Kane over 2.5 shots on goal, not going to overthink it in this one.
We've got a comment live from Instagram right now talking about the Sharks at plus 345. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit later on in the show. But Andy, I'm with you lately, especially on those player props. And it's something that I've dealt with. And I think you and I talked about it together during football season, was the juice in general, right? And it's something that I talked about, I think, a lot with touchdown scores. Like I've got buddies that they'll only bet like the third line guy with the hockey, right, to get the goal, or they want to get like not the first tight end option in football. No. They want the second tight end option to get a touchdown, and it's like these prices are only so great if you actually hit the ticket. There's nothing wrong with hitting a minus 160 or something like that. So. Obviously, the only thing that changes is the percent that you have to hit, right? But are you still, would you say, overall in that same boat where you have a lot of guys circled? You're kind of, if you're going with Patrick Kane, you're going to bet him for the next 4 or 5 games type of thing?
Yeah, and I've really approached hockey very different this season. I went over a week without a play in NHL. Like a full week, which, kind of goes against, what we think, but it's worked out great for me. Had a play last night and it hit, and I have a play tonight. And we're on a 41-19 run in hockey, and we've hit 66% of our plays for the entire season. So the waiting and just waiting for these streaks to present themselves has worked out beautifully for me. But you have to be prepared that you do have to hit 59%, not 56%, but once you are hitting that amount, it's great. I mean, 41-19, the juice can be over minus 200, but these plays are all hovering around this minus 150 mark. So I've identified a couple of guys to play. I actually think I've been a little bit too cautious sometimes because I've missed the Patrick Kane boat. I haven't put out plays like that for clients, even though he's been hitting 66% of the time. But yeah, you just need a couple of these guys to ride. We rode Evander Kane to not have a point there for a while. He was great. There were a few guys in the first part of the season. Jaden Schwartz, before he got hurt, was a really good one. So yeah, you find these guys and just play them night in and night out. And at the end of the year, you're looking at some really good profits.
And the books take a while to change those numbers, as we have learned, and look forward to getting more into props. I know Carm was a ticket cashing machine last year in the playoffs with a lot of these goal scoring and prop bets as well. Carm, any comments on that? And what do you have for this one in Washington and Detroit?
No, I completely get with what Andy says. I think you find one, you just ride it for as long as you can. You know what I mean? Whether it's a player's prop, whether it's a first period prop, kind of like New Jersey at home in the first period on the money line, for the first, 15 to 20 games of the season, it was a moneymaker. You were either winning or at worst pushing by taking the road dog in New Jersey in the first period. But at some point they run their course, and you got to know when to get off. And Andy's very good at that. Once it's run its course, he knows to move on to the next guy and start collecting and making money. You can't go like 41 and 19 and not be making money. So kudos to him. Andrew, I look at this game, and obviously it's a 4-point game. It's a you start to wonder if it is really a must-win for Detroit. Now, again, in gambling, must-win does not mean it's going to win. You'll go broke with that betting must-wins in any sport. But the Wings are a point back of Washington right now. They've played a game more. They've got to play them again. So this is 4 points against this team that I think you really need. Alex Lyons and both goalies are confirmed now. I'm seeing Lindgren for Washington, Alex Lyon for the Wings. Here's the thing: is, man, Alex Lyon has lost his last. He's got 8 straight losses. 8 straight losses, and this is a guy who'd been playing well at the beginning of the season. But if you can find sort of that light at the end of the tunnel and hope it's not a train on Alex Lyon, is the fact that Detroit went to Nashville and played an absolutely killer game against the Preds, who are one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the NHL, and they only lost that game 1-0. They still lost, but it was decided in the third period. and he played spectacular in that game. If he can build off that game, they have a chance to beat this Washington team. That said, I don't know if he can back it up with back-to-back solid performances. I think we're going to see some goals in this because I think possibly Detroit dictates the pace in this one. Washington's playing very good defensively, but we saw a couple starts ago against the Carolina team, a game that finished 7-6, 13 goals scored in that game. I'm going to go over 6 here and hope that this is more a scoring that is towards Detroit. I would love to see Detroit win this one because I have 2 futures and they both kind of fall into Detroit winning this game. It's Washington missing the playoffs, Detroit making the playoffs. So I have a little bias there, but I'm taking the over in this one, and we'll see what we get out of Alex Lyon tonight. Lindgren's been very good. He's the number 1 goalie as far as I'm concerned in Washington. They're playing well. We're going to see a good one tonight. This is a very good game to watch tonight. Let's see some goals.
All right. Who doesn't like goals? Who doesn't like watching an entertaining, high-scoring game? That's for sure. I mean, I've watched some good games that were low-scoring, but we all like the high-scoring games. To me, this handicap is kind of like, what do you care more about? How a team's played recently or what their numbers are on the season as a whole? I think that when you look at it, this Detroit team is obviously carrying some good weight. They've got some good numbers. They've got some good player individual statistics. But then Washington, out of nowhere, has just really turned it on. You look at them, and then you look at even like the St. Louis Blues, Nashville Predators in the West, like very similar paths for them over the last couple of weeks. And what's funny, guys, is that I got to stop saying that teams are top heavy and then not playing their player props. Because if I keep on saying a team is top heavy, that means there's only a few guys scoring. I've talked about it on Prop It Up. Sometimes teams that aren't very good even are the teams you can bet their props the most because you know who's going to score or who's not going to score. Connor McMichael, Dylan Strome, Alexander Ovechkin. If neither of those 3 guys do something, the Capitals lose. It's very simple. And what's awesome is that everybody's super excited about Ovechkin right now because he's absolutely on the track to break Wayne Gretzky's record. Not this year, maybe even not next year, but he has scored a ton over the last week and a half. I believe like 6 goals in his last like 8 or 9 games. So he's doing super well. But the player prop that I like is Connor McMichael to record a point. You can get that as high as plus 110. He is, of course, a forward for the Washington Capitals. And he's been just a real big power forward for them, scoring those greasy goals, dishing things off, making the right pass. And I think that he's kind of the player that you want to be looking at for the Washington Capitals right now. If you're interested in an over, like Carm's looking at some goals here. Dylan Strome, I'm just not comfortable with that price. I know we did just talk about the prices being worth it sometimes, but it's a little bit high. And then Alexander Ovechkin, of course, to score a goal, I don't think is ever really a bad idea. But to me, Connor McMichael is the guy I'm looking at tonight to hopefully have a good night. And I do like when I can bet a guy to get a point at a plus price is always nice. So McMichael for me, and a small lean to the Capitals side here. I just can't really go away from how they're playing. I'm not sure how they're doing it because I didn't see this Capitals team 3 months ago, but we're not handicapping 3 months ago. We're handicapping right now. All right, guys, we have to get into really quick. We got to talk about Leg Show Magazine on Instagram commented about the last 2 meetings between the Sharks and the Stars. Head to head, we've seen OT and we've seen a shootout, but we're seeing plus 345. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if I'd have it in me to go the money line route. I'd maybe recommend a plus 1.5, plus 2.5 opportunity. If it is a bad matchup, is there anything that sticks out to you guys?
I'll go
Andy,
first.
I see you smiling.
I
see you smiling, Andy.
You look at a couple.
Yeah.
You look at a couple.
I'll go.
Okay, you go first, Andy.
So they just went to overtime against Chicago. Okay, that's pretty good. But before that, their losses are 4-1, 8-2, 5-2, 4-2, 6-3. Andrew, I'm with you. If you do like the Sharks, I would take them the plus 1.5. You're still getting like plus 140. This is a team that has one win since February 17th. It was a 2-1 nail biter against Ottawa. So taking them to win again, Andrew, this is kind of like what you said. Like your friends are like, I'm going to take the backup tight end at plus 700. It's a great number, and then it loses, and you're like, well, I cashed my minus 140. So congratulations on getting the best number. I would say if you want a realistic shot at cashing a bet on the Sharks tonight, it's to try and take the puck line and hope they keep it close and get it to overtime before they will eventually lose. But can't get there on the money line, but puck line plus 140. Yeah, you could talk me into that one.
I can't believe Carm didn't put this game on our slate to break. I mean, I'm shocked here. This plus 345 didn't make the card here, Carm.
So it was close. It was between that one and the Florida and Boston game. I was scored on which game to do. But I get it. They played, I think, within a week's time. They played 2 games. Both of them went to OT. But come on, man. The Sharks are like 1-14 their last 15 games, 2-18 their last 20 games. Even at plus 345, if you hit once, you know, over these, if you hit both of them, let's say there were 345 in those 2 wins, you're still losing money betting on them. I get it. You can look at past results and say, well, based on those 2 overtime games, they could give them a game tonight. The Sharks are essentially in the off season right now. It seems that the way they're playing. Give me plus 235 on Dallas team total over 5.5 goals tonight. Dallas gets to 6. I cash plus 235. If it doesn't, I don't eat pizza for a week. Whatever, man. It's all good. This fat Italian can go a week without eating pizza. Team total Dallas over 5.5 plus 235. That's an alternate line, by the way.
Might be a pizza night tonight in my household, man, with all these great games on. I don't know. I made a nice meal last night. The thing is, this is how you know you love pizza, and this is how you know you probably aren't eating great lately. I wanted to order pizza last night, and my girlfriend was like, we had pizza so much, and we were down south. And I was like, yeah, but that was like bad pizza. It doesn't count. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, that tastes horrible. It wasn't good pizza. We're back home now. I want some good pizza. Not the same, but Carm, whenever you talk about pizza bets, man, it just makes you want to go buy pizza. So thank you for that. I appreciate that as always. I hope that wins. It reminds me of when Prez used to make like minus 3.5 against the Canadians or the Sabres just to piss us off, and then they would win. They would lose by like 5 goals, and he would go on Twitter and tell us he told everybody to bet them. But let's get back on track here. We've got a great game in the Western Conference. And we have a team that you and I are just not happy with right now, Carmen. We've talked about it before. We've talked about what it can do to somebody when they're handicapping, when they aren't happy with the team. And it's not going to be ever mad at a team. But this Edmonton Oilers team is not a team that we're satisfied with right now. And Winnipeg just so happened to be in my buy segment yesterday. So are you going to get involved in this side, Carm? Total play, props? What do you have for us in this one? We're seeing about minus 120 for the road team.
All right. So this is the best way I can explain this game to you, Andrew. And Pucksters, you guys that are watching this live and you guys are watching this later, whatever I take in this game, do not play it. I am not playing this game, but I'm going to give you my opinion on it because these 2 teams have absolutely killed me. I play on them, they lose. I play against them, they win. The Oilers, my God, they mushed me 2 games in a row. They lose in Toronto. They didn't show up for the first 40 minutes, and they show up for 1 period and made a late comeback. They lost. That's all that really mattered. They go to Ottawa. I have a play on them again, and they outshoot them by like 20, 25 shots on goal. And Ottawa gets, I think, 5 on 19 shots. It is absolutely sickening. These goalies, Skinner and Picard, have played well. The problem is the Oilers' defense has kind of reverted back to the Oilers' defense when they started the season. They're making defensive mistakes. They're taking penalties. And Andrew, you saw a couple of those penalties for interference that led to goals for the Ottawa Senators on the weekend. They're making mistakes that they shouldn't be making, and it is a scary proposition for them. Yeah, I start to wonder, because did the Edmonton Oilers think that their defensive problems and their short losing streak was over because they beat the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens at home before going on this road trip? Because if that's what they thought, those defensive problems are back. And now they're going to Winnipeg, a team that plays well defensively, but is returning home off a bad road trip themselves. This is a team that was second in the West for almost the whole season and is now dropping down the standings. And if Winnipeg doesn't watch it, because Nashville doesn't, seems like they don't want to lose a game. Nashville's only 5 points back of that third seed in the Central Division, and they could literally leapfrog Winnipeg at some point and put Winnipeg into one of the wild card spots. So this is one where the total's at 6. I don't want to touch the total. I would rather take Winnipeg at home because they are 11-4 their last 15 games at home, and you're getting them at plus money. And I get it. Well, they're playing the Edmonton Oilers, but if it's the same Edmonton Oilers team that played in Ottawa and the same team that played in Toronto, and they don't improve on that defense, they're going to lose tonight. I'll take the home dog here, but again, it's not making my card, guys. So you might want to load up on Edmonton. Who knows? Winnipeg for me. Andy, I'm going to throw it to you.
Wow. Well, I mean, now that I know what side you're on, I got a great parlay piece. No, I'm not going against you, Carm. So, again, there's a number out there that I love. Ekholm over 1.5 shots on goal. This one's pretty juicy at minus 180. So you could totally use this as a parlay piece. I absolutely love these 1.5 shots on goal. It just feels like the jump from 1.5 shots on goal to 2.5 is monstrous. Even if you have a couple of missed shots, you can get to 2 shots on goal. But for whatever reason, getting to 3 just feels a lot harder. So as long as they're leaving Ekholm at 1.5 shots on goal, I think it's worth the play. He's gone over in 10 straight games. And again, we talked about the Bruins. We talked about the Capitals. The Jets are in the same category where they're first in goals allowed for the season, but 12th in shots on goals allowed. So it's always... For me, I like playing players to not have a point. So when they go up against Winnipeg, I just love it because I know they're going to have very limited scoring opportunities. But shots on goal props are pretty good value against this team as their 12th. So Ekholm over 1.5 shots on goal. Use it as a same game parlay or put it with one of your other favorite parlay pieces tonight. Or if you're perfectly fine with laying big juice, it's minus 180. But that's pretty much the best way. I can't quite get to the window on Connor McDavid over 1.5 points. He's been absolutely lights out in this category. He's 1-1 against Winnipeg this year, but I just can't quite get there. It's just too tough of a matchup. So maybe you could take Connor McDavid to have a power play point, but I'll just settle with Ekholm over shots on goal.
That's a good one. Sneaky prop there with Ekholm. He's not scared to fire the puck, and those power play point props. I mean, if there's 2 teams I can think of for power play point props, it would be the Oilers and the Avalanche. The price differential you're going to get off like a McKinnon power play point prop versus him to record a point. Like, Andy, what would you say the number is on him over a half, like McDavid? Like minus 250 or like 220? Like what 220? Like what's the number on him to just get 1 point? Because I only mostly see 1.5 at the places I shop.
I don't think you can even find 1 point. They put these guys like Connor McDavid at 1.5 all year, and then they just kind of adjust the lines. McDavid to have a power play point over is plus 110.
Great.
The number. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, he's hit it 60% of last 5 games, but he hasn't really been doing it. He's only hit this 45% of the time this year. So it's a little bit risky. And like I said, I as a general rule, I just don't like playing on players to have points and success against Winnipeg. Just long term, it's not going to work out over the course of the season. So I just make it a flat rule, not playing it. But the shots on goal, much different story as the numbers back it up.
I'm not sure if you guys out there have seen the chart, but if you're watching, you should check out this chart you can see on Twitter. You guys know how when people have success, that those are the people like to make fun of. One of the reasons why LeBron James, you guys hated on, I'm seeing now Caitlin Clark is a big target for people. I mean, it's like, yeah, you're doing really well at something. It looks like we have to target you. Well, Zach Hyman just reached the 50 goal mark. And pretty much every single one of his goals are within like 3 feet of the net. So everybody's saying, oh, it doesn't count. He got 50 goals. They're all just happens. It's like, okay, well, he got 50 goals. Okay. Nathan McKinnon hasn't gotten 50 goals. You know, like there's certain guys that where you can look at and be like, wow, you know, they play their role super well. And Zach Hyman to get a power play point is plus 230. You know, for a guy that's got a 50 goal season, I'm not saying we have to overcomplicate it with him, but that's pretty incredible. But guys, for me, Carm, I asked you when I went to you before about how you're feeling about it, because you and I had a big plays there on the Oilers. Sometimes when you've got a team that I would say their last 2 games, if we're using, you know, the metrics, the X goals, all this expected goals, they technically, the analytics guys would tell you they deserve to win both games in Ontario against the Leafs and against the Senators, more so against the Leafs. And what's crazy is they lost like 6-3 or 5-2, whatever it was against the Leafs. And the expected goal numbers were like 5-2 or 5-3 in favor of the Oilers, you know, and I'm, of course, I'm venting to Dave Koch, and I'm texting him on Sunday about the Oilers, and he just texts me back and says Pickard stinks. Just getting after the goaltender, and we're talking about the goaltending situation here. And so what I'm going to look for here is just an over, because that game did go over against the Senators. It was 4-3. Barely goes over after it kind of died down a little bit. I get the premise of the Jets being such a defensive team. I don't usually like betting unders in Jets games at all. In fact, especially with them being after a couple straight losses now, I bet on them after their last loss. They still lost that one. But they did add some offensive pieces with Monahan and Toffoli. They've got depth now. It's not just 1 or 2 goal scorers. The Oilers have to be pissed off because they probably should have scored 5 or 6 goals in their last 2 games, you know, each of them, and they weren't able to do so. So, and defensively, you know, Carmine and I saying they weren't playing well defensively, but the advanced numbers say they were okay defensively. So I think it's going to be even worse against a mad and motivated Winnipeg team. So I'm actually going to go ahead and lock in the over in this one, Western Conference battle. Over 6. I'll take Winnipeg and Edmonton, Carm.
All right, 4-3. Listen, 4-3 for Winnipeg, and you're happy. You know, I the 2 plays on yesterday's show. I told you guys, if you see a package up, don't play them, don't buy it, because it'll be these 2 plays. And I went on WagerTalk today, and I had them loaded at that point. I said, you know, these are my 2 plays I have up for clients, and you know, they both won. Logan Thompson did exactly what I thought he would do. Vegas played well in front of him, and he played standout hockey in goal. He won that game for him. And then the Kings, DeSmith, they got to DeSmith in that game. He didn't look as great as he did. So I'm pretty happy about both those winning. And Andrew, you know, when I talk about the Edmonton Oilers as the thorn in my side, the Calgary Flames have been there too. My last 22 plays that I've released at WagerTalk in NHL, I have 119. Edmonton, 2 losses. Calgary, 1 loss. The province of Alberta have pretty much screwed up what could have been a 22-0 run. So listen, man, I'm coming there for the Stampede this summer, but that's about it, man. That's all I really like about Alberta is the Stampede.
The Alberta teams have been bothering us, man. The Alberta teams have definitely been bothering us lately. They drive me crazy. It's a nice part of Canada, though. If you can get there, it is a nice part of Canada. Guys, want to give a huge shout out to everybody watching mobily, watching on the YouTube Shorts live, whether you're watching there or the Instagram live as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you're not going to just be able to watch the videos and live streams. You're going to also be able to check out all types of YouTube Shorts, our YouTube Short videos and YouTube Shorts live. We just put up a poll about the Bruins and Panthers game. So far, it's 75% to 25% in favor of Florida, with 50% vote or 50 votes so far. So guys, if you want to cast your vote, head over to our YouTube channel, go to the YouTube shorts section. Let us know. It's a big matchup in the East, Boston and Florida. We're all over the place right now. We're on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook. You can catch us all kinds of places here. WagerTalk TV, all kinds of shows all day long. So guys, please check that out and hit the like button on this video while you are here. All right. Let's throw it over to Andy Lang for his best bet of the show, what he has going this week, and any promotional stuff you have. Andy, one thing I'll say to you really quick is that I've been loving that you've been kicking absolute ass in these UFC fight nights. And I love the hidden messages where you're like, is it something I did wrong that I don't have a big play up on the big UFC cards and I'm doing well on these fight nights? Because all tickets cost the same, right?
Absolutely. We're number one in 5% plays in the UFC this year. We're 4-1. Most units, best ROI, best winning percentage, and we have a 5% play that's up for this weekend. But actually, just use the promo code LANG7. We extended this promo code from last week to this week. It gets $30 off 7-day pass. Then we get all plays across all sports. Dan is red hot in lacrosse on a 16-5 run in lacrosse. We got a play up for tomorrow on that. We hit our NBA and NHL plays last night. We've got an NHL play up. So just use the promo code LANG7. Get 7 days worth of plays. It includes all percentages. I believe we're number 2 last 3 days, and we are hovering around that plus 48 unit mark for 2024. My best bet is very simple. The Seattle Kraken under 3.5 on their team total. It's minus 140. This team cannot score. They have 7 goals combined in their last 6 games. I know that they're playing Anaheim tonight, but they scored 1 goal against Montreal, 1 goal against Arizona in overtime. They are just an absolute disaster on offense right now. So if it was 2.5, I don't know. I still might take the under, but I can get 3.5 at minus 140 all day long. Fade this Seattle Kraken offense.
Oh, I loved watching them lose on Sunday night, Andy. That was nice. That was a nice win for my Canadians. Doesn't happen very often where they score 4 goals in 1 period. So that was nice. Good spot there. Team total under for the Seattle Kraken. Guys, make sure you're getting those 5% plays from Andy. He's absolutely kicking ass with those. And Carmine and myself have a great deal going right now for the rest of the NHL season. 3 weeks. It's a BOGO, buy one, get one. You buy one of the packages at my page or his page for the rest of this regular season. Get the other guy for free. One great price. That includes 5%. That includes props, sides, totals, team totals, everything else in between. So it's a great deal, Carm. We usually do it to start the year and to end the year. So we hope all of you guys will join us. It's already a jam-packed slate tonight. You guys can get every play I release, every play Carmine releases, all in one package with the buy one, get one free. Carm, any more points on that? And then what else you have going on?
No, I think it's a great deal we did last year. While 2023, the start of 2023 and the first half of the season wasn't great, 2024 has been phenomenal, up, I believe, 50 units since January 1st in NHL and on a really good roll right now. I think you'll find that if you look at the front page of WagerTalk and you click on NHL and you look at the last 3, 7, 30 days, I think the longer ones are the more important ones, 30 days. A lot more plays to judge a person on. Andrew, as far as the free play goes, and I only have one play up tonight. It's a best bet selection, 4% play at WagerTalk. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to find a second one on today's card. I don't want to force it. I'd rather just pick the game I like, bet it, and get it to my clients. As far as tonight's free play, I'm going to go with the Rangers and Flyers game. We didn't discuss that one, but also an important game for both teams, because they're both involved in their own little races. The Rangers for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and the Metro and the Flyers for a wild card spot. Over 5.5 right now. This is one that I think could hit 6 before game time. 6 straight overs for the Rangers. We don't normally see that from this team, but 6 straight overs from them. And the Flyers on the road, 6 of the last 10. Not a big number, but a profitable one nonetheless. I think we see some goals tonight. So I'm going to go over 5.5 Rangers, Flyers tonight as your show free play.
Let's get some goals. I said it before. I'll say it again. I love those high scoring games. Guys, another reminder, that great BOGO special, buy one, get one. Get my place for the rest of the season. You get Carmine's as well, vice versa. That deal is available at both of our profile pages, WagerTalk.com. Also in the action with the NBA, going to be real light tomorrow with it, but we're going to get back on track with the NBA plays. Cash the winner 2 nights ago and being really low volume. So kind of getting going again in the association. But tonight, jam-packed slate in the NHL. Don't buy the plays, buy that great package. My best bet's going to be the Boston Bruins. The plus price number is up as high as plus 115. We've got a very motivated team after 2 tough losses. I love this leadership group. Coach Montgomery was not happy. He was banging sticks around, screaming at the team in practice. I like when this Bruins team's given a chance to respond after some adversity, after being called out by their coach. And frankly, I don't think this Panthers team's playing very well right now. So I'm hoping at a plus price, the Bruins will take advantage of the spot. Guys, went a little bit long today. That's on me. Missed the whole week of shows. Guess I'm just excited to be back. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Andy Lang. Thanks to Carm as usual. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here on PuckTime.